Listen in and listen very closely because it is one core thing that you need to do, no questions asked, if you want to have high sales months, even with low reach. The current volume that you have right now, you will naturally see an increase in your sales when you start doing this one thing. Are you ready? Welcome to Million Dollar Content. Today I'm so excited to talk about how you can have high sales months even with very low volume. Now I have people come to me and say all the time, well, if I can actually get on a call with them, or if I just had, 100 people at my webinar, or if I just had, more people commenting on my post or seeing my stories and fill in the blank, then I would hit this. But the truth is what I'm here to tell you, and actually the very reason I created this whole channel is so that you can see that there is actually a possibility to go all in on mastering your sales with very low volume. And what I mean by that is my sales are not dependent on my volume on Instagram. Now, of course, yes, you need leads. If you're going to have a funnel, of course you need leads in it. If you are going to sell to people, of course you need views. You need people to be able to see your content. But what I mean here is most of you listening to this right now probably have more views than even I do. And so that was the very reason I actually created this, was so that I could show you and you could go in, look at my content. This happens all the time. People will talk to me and then they'll go and look over at my content and they're like, oh, that's what she meant. It makes a lot of sense now, because sometimes the fun goals that I share and things like that can oftentimes seem like, oh, okay, she probably has a big following, right? In your head, you just make automatic assumptions, which is the very reason that I'm doing this and showing up here, is to teach you that there's actually a different way that this is achieved. It is possible for you even if you have low volume. So even if my reel has 500 views, still possible to have 50K months. Okay, so if that is something that you are excited about, listen in and listen very closely, because I'm about to break down what this looks like. It is one core thing that you need to do, no questions asked, today in your content, and every single day in your content, if you want to have high sales months, even with low reach. Okay, I don't care if the Instagram algorithm has a glitch. I don't care if I of course sympathize if your views have gone up and down, all the things, but the truth is, the reason why I say I don't care about that is because it happens to everybody. Okay, and I have learned to no longer care about that. I genuinely post content on my feed and oh well, who cares what kind of views it's gonna get? Because what I do know is it's gonna get sales. What I do know without a shadow of a doubt, no question in my mind, if I grabbed my phone right now while I was recording this and created a piece of content based on the skills that I have and the way that I show up and who I show up for, we're about to talk about that right now, I know I would make sales today, right now. And that is such a beautiful, incredible, freeing feeling to know, oh, I'm actually not locked in by the algorithm. And a lot of people make an assumption because I teach about organic sales and how you can do this on just your Instagram and you don't need all these other different platforms and things like that in order to achieve $1 million, over $1 million in sales. While I say that, people automatically assume that they just need to learn tips and tricks from me or need to learn, and then I can just invite you to go and look at my content with very, very low views so that you can be reassured to know there is nothing else going on here. Like I have said, I'm not running ads in the background. There is not all of these different things happening, okay? But the thing that is happening is very core skills that I have mastered, okay? And we're going to talk about, I know I talked about messaging in the episode before this and really diving into what that looks like in your content. Now, I'm going to talk about the one most important thing if you want high sales months, okay? If you want to attract your dream client, your ideal client who is excited to say yes, who becomes a loyal buyer, this is the type of content you're going to create, okay? Now, let me just say this. First and foremost, what I won't be talking about here is how you can crush this 50K months, 60K months, plus 100K months and do it in a way that feels exhausting and overwhelming and constantly working 24/7. No, I actually want to show you here on the screen what one of my clients, this is a message that she sent to me when she hit her first 50K month. And it was so important that she does this, and this is the only way that I operate, is teaching my clients how to hit these high sales months while it being sustainable and scalable. So this particular client, we actually have revenue that is going to be stacked for her every single month. So her revenue will increase. Her projections are almost by $10,000 every single month just from here, okay, which is wild, right? But this is done in a sustainable way so that she has income built out for a year in advance. So into the next year, she already has income built out and it fits her lifestyle. And so when she said that it didn't feel like a rat race, it didn't feel like like she was like clawing at it, right? That was the best thing that I could possibly hear, because the way that I do this with low volume does not mean that you need to be posting 10 times a day. It doesn't mean you need to post 3 posts a day and just hustle your way because you need to reach more people, right? No, it actually truly does mean that the current volume that you have right now, while there are some things you can enhance and do to increase those leads, okay? And that is something that I will share about. While there's some things that you can do with that, without even having those things, your current audience right now, you will naturally see an increase in DMs, in comments, in your sales, all of those things when you start doing this one thing, okay? Are you ready? And that is speaking to a high-paying buyer. So this actually doesn't matter if you sell high ticket or if you sell low ticket. Okay, so I want you to table that for a second. It doesn't actually matter what price your offer is. What I said is a high-paying buyer. And I want you to pay close attention to that, because a high-paying buyer, the messaging for that person is very different, okay, than the buyer that you're speaking to right now. Now, this is different than just speaking to a ready buyer versus a unmotivated buyer. That's a whole other thing, okay? What I'm talking about here is speaking to a high-paying buyer, because a high-paying buyer, when you're doing flash promos and discounts and last chance and X, Y, and Z, that's not what a high-paying buyer is like waiting on the edge of their seat for, okay? Is it still absolutely strategic to add certain promos and to do these things? And sometimes having those promos are super fun, and that's great. But that is absolutely not the thing that is moving this high-paying buyer, the thing that they're like waiting on the edge of their seat for. A high-paying buyer wants to know these 3 things. These are the 3 things a high-paying buyer needs to see and hear in your content. Okay, ready? Write this down. The very first one is they want to know that you know exactly who you're speaking to. And here's what I mean by that. A high-paying buyer is not going to be motivated or moved by language that's full of discounts and here's why this amount of money will be so worth it for you, I promise, or money back guarantee, all the things. A high-paying buyer is not moved or motivated by that kind of language. For example, my challenge. When I talk about my 5-day challenge and I'm like, ooh, I have this promo ticket that's like literally $20. The reason it's $20 is not because I think you can't afford to pay the full $97 or whatever it is. Okay, I could charge $2,000 for this challenge, truly. But here's the thing. It's a $20 promo ticket, and it's such a fun promo to offer. What I'm not doing is talking about how this discount, I promise that this will be so worth it for you, and this is the last chance. That is not what I'm doing, okay? When I'm speaking to a high-paying buyer, I'm like, listen, I understand that with this 5-day challenge, what's most important to you is the time investment. I know that is so much more important to you than whether it was $20, $97, whatever, about this 5-day challenge. I know that what you value so much is your time. And then I lead into why the challenge is the very reason, it's the very thing that they should sign up for if they want to spend less time on their Instagram, but actually make so much more money. Okay, so the first one is who you are speaking to crystal clearly. It is not going to be language around discounts, no, because I know that most ideal client, right? That high-paying buyer who's excited to get her transformation, who's excited to invest into getting her problem solved, she just needs the right language, okay? I'm going to speak to her. All right. I'm going to speak to her and I'm not going to be begging her to motivate herself. And here's why you need motivation. And, if you want to grow a business, you have to do X, Y, and Z. Listen, she knows. Okay. I'm going to speak to her directly where she's at. So that would look like me getting out a piece of paper. Where is she at? Where's your person at? Okay. Speak directly to that person and focus there. Okay. Second thing is they are looking for you to have the authority. They are looking at 10 other people who sell the exact same thing as you, and they're thinking, who's going to stand out from the rest? Do you have authority over the thing that you're speaking about? I 1000% have authority over this whole thing about organic sales. Why? Because I have proof, because I have evidence to back it up. It's not because I just think that I'm great at messaging or whatever. No, I have actual tangible proof that I had my lowest reach month, right? My lowest reach month on Instagram, I think ever. All time low. And that was the first 50K I ever hit. And then I hit 60K. And like, I had a $160,000 day when having still low volume, low reach. Okay, I have actual proof to back it up. So when I stand in authority, that is language, authority-based language means you're not going to shy back about why you're the go-to. Why are you the person in comparison to everybody else that they should hire? And that is a question that will make you like low-key, should I either continue to binge this podcast or this YouTube channel, or should I literally never listen to a word Hannah says again? Because it makes your mind think to yourself like, oh, I have to go there. Never mind. I'm just going to like go, I'm going to post a reel. I'm going to, post on my stories. I'm going to talk about my offer. I'm going to do all the things because it's getting me sales, right? But the truth is, with so much love, you are at a sales plateau. And this is where the money is made. That client that I was just talking to, there is so much money for her to make if she goes all in right here, okay? So it should challenge your brain. You should feel resistance, okay? You have to lead with why you are the authority. Why are you the go-to? Why are you the person that they should choose amongst all the rest? I will literally say, listen, you could make $1 million running ads. And you may not want to spend a ton of your profit in paying for ads. And so if you want to do this just organically with the time you're already spending on Instagram, I am your girl. I am the go-to person for that. And I'll say things with so much authority to say, listen, when you are ready for every single piece of content that you post to actually bring in sales and to sell out your offers, that's when you hire me. When you're ready to stop using the algorithm as an excuse with love, that's when you hire me. That is me speaking with authority. Me telling you the moment that you should buy from me. And a high-paying buyer, somebody who's like, wait, I actually do want that problem solved, but you've just never spoken to me like this. They're like, oh, they have so much respect, so much trust that is built with you when you speak with that kind of authority. Okay, last thing. This is one that a lot of people have a hard time on, and maybe I'll do a whole entire episode on it because, gosh, I could go off on this right now. The last thing is when you want to speak to a high-paying buyer, if you want this to become an easy yes, if you want to shorten the amount of time that it takes for someone to purchase from you, you need to refrain from over-educating, okay? Here's another, I feel like I always get episode ideas over and over and over when I'm talking to you, but I'm like, gosh, I feel like I just want to spend so much time on all these things. Okay, the one that I just said, and then on top of that, so not just when it comes to like freebies, but the actual idea that there's a big difference between like your freebie and having that, and it's actually not so much about education and all the things. That's a whole topic in and of itself. And then there's this other topic in and of itself that where the truth is you still do need to share some logistics. A lot of people say not to share logistics. Don't share any idea of like the back end or behind the scenes or anything. Just keep it all about the payoff and all about the focus. And while that is amazing, there's also so many layers you can go deeper about a high-paying buyer. They actually want to see themselves getting their transformation within your content. Okay. Topic for another day. Man, I'm so fired up about that. But what I want you to take home right now is this last piece of refraining from over-educating. Let me explain. There is so much education and so much value, right, that people are sharing on Instagram. And I recently tested this out, and I spent my own money going out and testing this, buying from this person. And this person shares a lot of free content on her Instagram, and also her paid offer. It seems like they're almost like one and the same. And so I constantly see her talking about this paid offer, but then in her content, I see the very thing that she's talking about in her paid offer. Okay, so I was like over and over and over, and I totally respect this person 1000%. Okay. And it was such a crystal clear example of, oh, this is so exciting. And so many people will use this free education that she gives in her content. And that's awesome. And they're using it. Okay. And then what about the actual sales? That's the piece. Okay. Because if you want to have high sales months with low volume, you cannot give away every single thing for free. and this is not gatekeeping. This is the very fact that if you give your people so much to do, so much to work on in this setting, then they are a lot less likely to buy from you. And so a high paying buyer, they're not wanting you to like overload them with all this education in your content. That's not what they're looking for. That is not what they're looking for. Okay, because overeducation can actually keep them in this like paralyzed state, right? And you want them in action. You want them taking action towards their transformation. So this person, I actually ended up buying from them, going into their paid offer, looking at it, and I was like, oh, it actually is very similar to this person's free content. And that is the thing. People, when you give away so much for free, and then they get in on the other side, they're also going to expect so much more. And if it's some of the same, then why is that your paid offer? Okay. You need to have clear distinction with this of your content, okay, is doing a lot of things, but what it should not be doing is overeducating. Okay. And a high paying buyer does not want tips and tricks. A high paying buyer, write it down, circle it. A high paying buyer does not want tips and tricks. So as a recap, you want to speak to the buyer that is ready for their transformation. Okay. Second thing is you want to speak with authority. Instead of shying back about why you are the go-to, you want to speak with authority. Okay. And you want to lead with what matters to them and what they value about their transformation and not education. Okay. I wanted to share these 3 things with you because it is so important when you are speaking to somebody who is ready and excited to purchase from you, somebody who oftentimes money objections aren't even really their thing. It could be a time objection. It could be so many other things, right? And that is something I would love to dive into as well. A lot of people do ask me about money objections. And so I think I will film an entire episode all about money objections and how you can handle those money objections and what a money objection really is and how to tell if it is even a money objection. But the biggest, most important thing here is that if you want to start increasing your sales right now, you absolutely need to start speaking to those high paying buyers. And you need to start speaking to them about what they value. If this content was enjoyable to you, if you took some notes, if you were like, oh, that was like a light bulb moment for you, I would love for you to jump in the comment section or leave a review on the podcast and let me know what stood out to you. And if you are enjoying it, if you want more of these different topics, any topic suggestions too, feel free to leave there because I am going to create this content for you and I'll see you on the next episode.